So I open up untap.gg just to see what's going on in the meta, and I see right there, win rate today, number 8, Orzhov Bats. Orzhov Bats is actually a deck, and I'm wondering, people have seen Orzhov Bats, but is there something we can do? Then it occurs to me, budget bats. Can this still be a top meta deck, even on a budget? And that's the question we're going to answer today. Welcome to the Attic Mana Dad here. It's the channel where we explore what's fun in Magic, mostly on Arena, budget bats today. So obviously the decks that are getting like 59% win rate here, those are not budget decks. But my question is there a way to take a deck like this and make it more of a budget kind of deck? So that is what I've attempted to do. Now, normally for budget decks, I do 10 or fewer rares or mythics. However, it makes it really hard to do in this standard in Magic in 2024. It's really hard to do with, the mana base. So what I recommend is if you have, all of the different lands, the rare lands, make sure you put those in. I'm going to show you my deck that I built, trying to kind of minimize those lands, make it a little bit more budget. But the deck is just the fact of Magic in 2024. The deck is going to perform better with the mana base. Okay, so let's take a look at what I built for a budget bats. Okay, so fair warning, I am recording this deck tech before we actually play the matches. We'll be back at the end of the video with the real win rate of the deck. See how close we got to the 59% for the non-budget version with this budget version. But let's talk about the deck. What do you get? It's a fun deck to play, at least in my testing. First reason to play bats, Deep Cavern Bat. People throwing this into any kind of control deck, mid-range deck already. It's fun to play it in a more aggro-oriented deck. You could call this an aggro-oriented deck. Well, you'll see. But you get to use it for its lifelink, which you don't often do. So great to disrupt your opponent and their game plan. Get a lot of scoops just from playing this card on turn 2. When this connects, which it often does, it's just going to gain you a life. But as you'll see as we go through the deck, we got a lot of payoffs for that because Black-White Bats, thanks to Bloomburrow, has sort of a theme to it about gaining and losing life. So Helping Hand, this is an interesting one I was seeing in some of the Black-White Bat deck lists. Instead of fighting so much removal, we're just going to plan to bring back our bats with the Helping Hand. Case of the Uneven Feast, this is a rare. All the bat decks seem to be running more than one copy, but we're just going to go with one copy. It's essentially Life Creed Duo's ability. When a creature enters, we're going to gain a life, but on an enchantment, and it has some payoff if we can gain some more life. But really, we don't mind having 4 Life Creed Duos. Just a common 1/2 flying. Whenever another creature you control enters, you gain a life. The so-called Soul Sister ability. So we've got Rain Lurker Bat, which is a 1/1 bat with flying and lifelink. It's also got some Scry ability that does come up, which is pretty nice. Essence Channeler only could fit 2 in here in terms of just trying to keep the rares down, but this is a pretty essential bat. You could probably build more around it. Great art by Wiley Beckert as well, so it never hurts to see it a lot of times. But this is essentially, you've seen this kind of creature before. It's a 2/1. Whenever it's you're gaining life, you're putting a +1/+1 counter, and it can get flying and vigilance as long as you've lost life this turn. And then when it dies, its counters go on to something else. So basically, opponent has to kill it right away. Okay, so we talked about that. We talked about Life Creed Duo. I put in some cutdowns and some Bitter Triumphs just to give us a little more interaction. Depending on the meta, maybe you don't need so much interaction. You could trim these down, add some more bats. We do, most of even the really high win rate decks are running at least 1 copy of this Starscape Cleric. It's either a 2-mana bat or a 5-mana for 2 bats. And what's nice is it's got, whenever you gain life, opponent loses 1 life. So you can start to just drain down opponents with all these little life gains. And it's a way to actually make gaining life a way to win. So we're up to 3. It's an uncommon just to get in. Amalia, some decks run more than more than 1 copy of Amalia. Not a bat, but again, life gain payoff, similar to Essence Channeler. I just put one in. It's a legendary, so getting multiple copies is not always the best. But it's a strong card. Lots of decks are just built around Amalia. We're just running one, and also Elos is another bat helper here. Again, whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life, which we know we have some payoffs for. And whenever another creature you control dies, your opponent loses 1 life. So at a certain point of the game, dropping an Elos with a board of 5, 6 creatures, it becomes very hard for them to deal with, because if they're at 5, 6, 7 life, whatever, they're they're either going to die or almost die, even if they wipe our whole board. Now we also have Lunar Convocation. In my testing, this was not great to get 2 of. You might want to take it down, but it is sort of the only way this deck draws cards and gets that card advantage, other than the temporary card advantage you get from stealing your opponent's cards with Deep Cavern Bat. If you don't know, enchantment, black and a white, at the beginning of your end step, if you gained life, each opponent loses 1 life. So again, that ping, those constant pings with the life gain are nice. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained and lost life, you make a 1/1 bat, which is nice. It's going to bring a creature into play. All these things that gain life will trigger, which is going to trigger this. Pretty nice. We can also easily trigger the lose life ability by playing 1 in a black and 2 life to draw a card. And again, another thing to do with all that life we're gaining, turn it into cards with Lunar Convocation. Pretty good, pretty fun. Moonstone Harbinger, I don't think a lot of decks run this, but again, we're budget, so we're looking for commons and uncommons to try to get in here. And this actually works pretty nicely in the bat deck. I found 1/3 Flying Death Touch, so really shuts down the board. With having a flyer with Death Touch makes it hard for your opponents to attack into with their big expensive stuff. And whenever you gain or lose life, bats you control get +1/+0 and gain Death Touch. And this ability triggers only once each turn, but again, just pumping your whole board, pretty nice. Zoraline Cosmos Collar is a 3/3 Flying Vigilance. Whenever a bat you control attacks, you gain 1 life. So again, the life gain triggers, pretty nice. When it enters or attacks, you can pay white, black, and 2 life. So the thing I didn't realize when I first played this card, you got to have 5 mana when you drop it if you want to bring something back from your graveyard, if you want that helping hand ability. And you do have to pay 2 life, which is a real cost also in addition to the mana. But in some cases, some turns you have a payoff for that, so you actually want that. And you turn target non-land permanent card with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter. That's okay. We got 1 Aclazotz in here, just one of fun of. A lot of these bat decks do. 4/4 Flying Lifelink, great way to close things out. If they remove it, it turns into a land. You can flip it back. Pretty nice. Virtue of Persistence, again, probably if you have 2 of them, put 2 in, but just to keep the rares down, a trimmed 1 down. This is your removal that also gains you life, so pretty nice in the deck. Instead of having a bunch of Bitter Triumphs, you could have some Virtues and do pretty well. In the mana base, Scoured Barrens, it's a land that gains life. That's also a dual land, pretty nice. We went to 2 Restless Fortresses, 2 Concealed Courtyards, 2 Caves of Koilos, and then the basics. And again, you looked at those mana bases of the decks that win a lot. It's just unfortunate, but you're going to lose some games where you just get plains or you just get swamps and you can't play part of your hand. And that's the way it is until you get enough wild cards to get the mana, the land. So in general, people suggest, and I support this, use those use those wild cards on the mana bases, and then you can build all kinds of decks with the mana bases. But as you can see, we still get to play a range of really fun rares, and we don't have too many rares. I'll just do a quick count here. So 1 with Case of the Uneaten Feast, 2, 3 Essence Channeler, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then if you do count the lands, we've got another 6. So unfortunately, I do really like to keep the budget decks to 10 or fewer rares, but I think in this case, I'm going to be one of those content creators that doesn't count the lands, but still calls it budget, just because the designers have made it really hard to play a 2-color deck on a budget without the lands. So that's why lands are valuable, and they retain value more than most of your standard collection. Anyways, get off my high horse here. You can stick around to the end to find out how this all turned out, because me right now, as I'm recording, does not know. And we'll have a special message here first before we get into the games from Overlord of the Hauntwoods.
Hey, It's me, Overlord of the Hauntwoods. Actually, haunting and overlording are just my hobbies. My day job is managing the YouTube algorithm. I try to make sure lots of negative, conspiracy-laden clickbait shows up in your feed. You know, nightmare fuel. Whatever you do, don't like, comment, or elder gods forbid, subscribe to a channel like this one, okay? We don't need your feed filled up with people who genuinely enjoy playing Magic like this so-called Manadad. He puts deck lists and other useful links in the description. He even shows real win rate stats at the end of the videos. Yikes. Clicking on positive, helpful videos takes away from the time I could be spending haunting woods or putting my friend Writhing Chrysalis into draft boosters. But you don't have to take it from me. 9 out of 10 players who want to unban grief agree. Now let's see. What is your racist uncle clicking on today? He has impeccable taste. Let me send some of those videos your way.
Playing this on my free spells account here, so it's an account where I don't put money in, so free to play. So I've been able to build this. So you know what the bat deck I was able to build. I'm free to play with the wild cards I had, and we do have both our colors. We've got a turn 1 play. Double Coralines is kind of like having a mulligan, but we'll see how much a removal opponent has. They come down with a tap land, which is nice for us. I think we'll go with Deep Cavern Bat next turn. Don't really see a reason not to. Check out what their hand has. So, okay. Well, they got Sunfall, which is basically a scoop and lose card for us. Prayer of Binding is their removal that's in hand. Next turn they're going to drop Urabrask Forge. If we don't, we can force them to do Union of the Third Path instead. But we don't really have an answer for Urabrask's Forge, so I guess we'll just take that. And our goal is to win before they get the mana for Sunfall. Could be pretty dicey. They're about to gain a bunch of life here. Go with the Zor line. Got Blast Zone, so they're only 1 mana away here. Gain some life. And there's the Union of the Third Path. They gain some life. They're at 22. We'll certainly have a land here among those 2 cards. Looks like they're going to kill Zoraline. That's fine. We got another one. Would love to hit an untapped land so we can double spell next turn. I think we're just Lunar Convocation and maybe try to play through a Sunfall, but I don't think we win if they manage to play Sunfall. I'm thinking a Prayer of Binding possibly, it looks like. Yeah, they're gonna hold out for the Sunfall. Okay, so let's Lunar Convocation. And then Scour Barrens, because oh well, I guess we're gonna gain life probably either way. Zoraline. Oh, they kick out the Lunar Convocation. Okay, interesting. Oh, take them down to 19. We're at 31. Maybe we can kind of outlast. We get 3 for 1 here with the Sunfall, and we've lost our ability to redraw cards. So that kind of stinks. And they can Wandering Emperor now. They're going to Urbrass Forge. Three and a 1/1. Not even attacking with the 1/1. Elas. Fortunately, again, a double Elas. We only have 2 of these. There's nothing to bring back from the graveyard. This is why Sunfall is just so poisonous to the meta. Like, you know, a deck like this would actually have a chance to come back with Zoraline and be in the game. Whereas now it's looking like kind of unlikely. We got the Blast Zone. The fact that they're coming in with a 2/1 is interesting. Maybe we're just supposed to take it. Do they have some trick to deal 1 damage to Zoraline? I'm gonna crank up the Blast Zone to 2, it looks like, because that can 2 for 1 our board. We just got the Eternal Wanderer. We kind of wipe our board with that too. Forgot about its -4. Archangel Elspeth, okay. Probably died a Blast Zone. But until then, gonna gain and drain. Not popping off here. Look at this. Look at all these triggers. Thought we were in a loop there for a second. Is there any reason not to attack with Elas? They can block. Yeah, let's just go. Guess we'll just hold back Elas. Go face. Get more of these triggers. Boom, boom, boom. On it. I crank the Blast Zone. Oh, we got there! We actually got it. What a top deck. All right, go Bats. Budget Bats, budget Bats. Bargle with Yargle. Bargle, how Yargle bargains. How Yargle pilots a barge. Or how Yargle talks about a beagle. Or a bagel. I don't know. But I think we'll keep this hand. Classic basic lands hand. Some serious interaction here. Well, opponent gets their choice of what to take. The interaction. Mosswood Dread Knight. Goes for the card out of it. Get the Cleric on the board. Hit, drain. Just try and kill my Starscape Cleric. I dare you. another drain. Oh no! They really didn't want that drain. Hey, we got our descend trigger though. He gave us a descend trigger opponent. Think about that. Another rain lurker bat. Is this actually good against them? I mean, if we're pinging, hitting lifelink, and then I can get this guy back, maybe we want to draw it. Do we try to draw? We try to draw into a bigger payoff, I think. 4 mana next turn. Also with Dread Knight. There we go. Fly you for 3. And why not draw a card? Make a bat. They're down to 10. We're humming along. Restless Cottage could get them back in the game. Deep Cavern Bat. Okay, well, they take the cut down, probably. Yeah, but that's just the way it is. They hacked with the Dread Knight, because why not? Okay. Well, forget about helping hand. Let's just make more of these guys. They block with the bat. Actually, probably should have just attacked with the cleric. Maybe they would block. Yeah, they do block. Time to give us back the cut down. Ping, 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 ping. They're down to 6. What you got, opponent? Woo! See you later, Golgari. Okay. Double Restless Fortress hand. Interesting. What's going first? Play a tap land turn 1. We may fall a little behind against Baron. Maybe fair and poorly. Oh, Restless Fortress. Elas, probably. Door line. Valley Might Caller, okay. Well, we might have to consider Bitter Triumphing. See how big this froggy gets. Probably the rabbits deck, green-white rabbits. They hit 2 villages. Gonna be all in on creatures. Alright, do we think Elas shuts down the ground game? Do we want to worry about the quest caller getting the scries? Maybe we do. I could discard the other Restless Fortress. I guess I'll just pay 3 life. Hope we're gonna burn it back with Elas. This Might Caller could get mighty big. Oh jeez. For example. If this slows him down. Foreign Guard. Another Might Caller. Interesting order on that. Well, kind of have to do this. Scoured Barrens. Line can block. They are stuck on mana. Well, not the flood.
thing is eating my hand!
In other words, how long of a screw is necessary?
Screwed.
Huh. Whenever a bat you control attacks, gain 1 life. So that includes itself. That's good. Let's deep cavern bat. Let's see if there's anything we can take. Yeah, hop to it is going to be a bad problem, but if they don't draw the land, I think we just take Phineas. And then probably need to bitter triumph the Burrow Guard and ditch what? Convocation? Convocation might be a way out of this. I don't really want to spend 3 life. That's the turn. Oh, they hit the white mana. Oh boy. Okay. Big old Burrow, Might Caller. Oh, and I was supposed to attack with Zoraline there. Ooh, we're punting.
From the end zone, he punts it. Oh my goodness, this could be the longest punt in Super Bowl history.
I don't think I've been that excited for a punt. What a punt.
Now, to be fair, this is like the exact budget rabbit deck that I've already done. So maybe they're a fan playing my budget rabbits here. Any attack triggers? Now we're attacking with the 5/5. Okay. Well, guess we'll discard a card. Take 5. We can hit something great here. This is not it. We can bring something back. Maybe bring back Elos, although that costs us more life. Decline. Your opponent's got us as long as they just all attack. We need way more removal to win this one. Not the okay. So we can kill one of those guys and block. Block? And 2, 3. Rune Lurker Bat. A good game, any? Yeah, I don't think there's a win here. Bring back. I can even bring back Lunar Convocation. And I'm gonna concede. Budget bats, budget bats. Ankle biter. that every day. Schneck. Okay. Go ahead and put that counter on that Schneck, and we'll remove it. And then the question becomes, what's the order here? They're green, so they probably can't remove stuff. We can mess up their hand. They've only got 4 cards in hand. I want to get the Life Creed Duo down, and then Amalia, maybe Amalia, Life Creed. So we got Helping Hand to bring stuff back. Embarrassment of 2 drops here. I'm gonna go with that. Just be disruptive. Slimes! Okay. So next turn they can cast a slime. It doesn't do us much good to put a slime in the graveyard, so. Love to see mono green slimes. Hilarious. 3/3 slime. You got it, opponent. Okay, so let's do Malia. Trigger. Attack with the bat. Trigger. Keep that on top. Quick duo into bat next turn. Can we grow our Amalia faster than they can grow their slimes, though? Big question. Also buffing these slimes with Innkeeper's Talent. Is forced. Ornery Tumblewag. Out here trying to double the counters on their slimes. There that is. The block. It's gonna get dicey. Level that up. There's stuff harder to kill. Okay, so yes, let's do this in the correct order. Trigger. Take the slime. Zoraline, yeah, we will keep Zoraline. So, do we keep Amalia to block? This can get pretty big next turn. Maybe we're just in a race. Life. Don't have anything to bring back from the graveyard. Maybe we potentially chump with the Life Creed. Holy moly, that got huge. That was no joke, doubling the counters on that. Well, this looks like a fun deck. Yeah, so let's bring back the Life Creed first. Lower line. We have to go for a removal, right? They're at 14. Just go for some removal. Explore for removal. Bitter Triumph, okay. That. Growing Amalia. Pretty darn big. We pretty much have to chump the Amalia against the 21-21 trample. See what opponent does. Bristly Bill. So they can saddle up the Tumblewag and win. Just have to give him a nice for that, I think. Alright. Beat by Slimes. Well played, opponent. Well played. Budget Bats! Up against Onem Bit. Oh no. Bit myself. Right? That's what it means. Now, the Onim. The name of O. Cool. Okay, I was going to go Scoured Barons turn 1. We have a chance to go that. Well, we just missed turn 2. Blue tempo deck. Probably. Get our creatures on board before they have a chance to get counterspelled. I don't know. Keep not going first, which I don't like. Opponent. Deduce. Counter my life creed duo if you desire. Yeah. Moment of truth. That's what they were holding up. One card into hand, one into graveyard, one on the bottom of the library. Island goes to graveyard, so they probably have plenty of lands in hand. Hottie Jin! Oh man. Oh dear. Well. We beat the Hottie Jin. We would have needed to have removal ready to go when they were tapped out. There's a good chance now they can just protect it until the end of time. Ooh, there's Bitter Triumph though. Steps ahead, sure. We get a descend trigger off of that, apparently. Caves of Koilos. Do we want 5th mana? That will let us play the Starscape Clerics. They're 4 cards in hand, probably all removal spells. Let's try, well, we could try to double spell next turn. Let's see, we've got the draw with Lunar Convocation. Might just be enough. Another land in the graveyard. Land drop number 5 for opponent. Elige! Okay. Holding up protection. Or not. Okay. This is our chance. What are we more worried about? Elige or... Enters or attacks counter target land. It's an island in addition to its types. First instant sorcery spell you cast each turn costs blue less to cast for each land you control with a flood counter on it. Okay. So they actually do have protection up. Well, let's see. Okay, 3 life. Let them use the protection. Oh, they were able to phantom interference there. No attacks. They get to make a bat. That was cool. Six. Now they've got the full might of. Well, we'll try it. Negates. Okay. Might have another negate. Well, let's drain ya. 13 to 13. Attacks, but we got chump blockers for the 6/4, and I guess maybe the 6/6. This doesn't even have trample. We can just make enough bats every turn. We're down to 10. Getting a land is not great for them. Chump. Chumpity chump. Chump, chump, chumpity chump. Oh, they still do have a card in hand. The courtyard. Counter this if you like. I was thinking I'd attack with both bats, but let's just no attack here. Get some bats. Some descend triggers. Helping hand. In our graveyard. Bring back Amalia? Is that even... I don't think that's even worth it. With the old bat. Here we go. Counterspell. Tara's dispersal. Okay, but I can just recast that. Trigger, and then I attack with these, right? That's enough, yeah. Gotcha, Mono Blue. Okay, checking out the stats on the deck. 3 and 5. Seems abysmal, doesn't really tell the full story. Look, on the play, we did not get a single game on the play. We're on the draw 8 straight games in a row. Look at this. So, not really a full test out of the deck. I have to think on the play, and when I tested it out on the play, it did pretty well. I mean, we just had a red deck on the draw that was just rolled us over, a black deck I mean, we were on the draw, and that rolled us over. There was an Abzan deck we were probably never going to beat because they board wiped. So a couple games that were just auto loses, essentially. And I think when the deck actually got a chance to do its thing, we performed pretty well. At least that's my assessment. I think Case of the Uneaten Feast is probably good against all these decks that have a lot of removal. You might want to tick that up. I don't know if you actually run the 3. A lot of these decks had 3 in them. Helping Hand was generally pretty good. Again, with Sunscour, you know, and the exile-based removal, you're just toast. Ruin Lurker Bat, keep that as a 4 of. Cut down, maybe for best of 1, cut down goes up. Go with 4 of those. I don't know. Definitely kind of need it if you run up against mono red. Essence Channeler, we never really got to pop off with that, but I think it's pretty decent. I wouldn't say like you know, definitely try to take it up. 2 might be about the right number. Life Creed Duo was good. Just the 1-2 stats is just a little low on stats. Bitter Triumph was good. The pay 3 life actually paid off for us a couple times because we do have the payoffs for losing life, so that's pretty good. Deep Cavern Bat, obviously, keep that as a 4 of. Starscape Cleric, this was performing really well. This is maybe of my changes to the deck, going from 1 to 3 of these is maybe one of my favorite things I've done. Maybe you even cut down Life Creed Duo and go up another one of these. Not being able to block is really not that much of a downside, at least in the games we played. Amalia was okay. You might just want to go with more Essence Channelers just to go full bat. Elessi, of course, same deal. Wasn't that excited about it. Zoraline, there were a couple times we needed to get back in the game and we were hoping to draw Zoraline, so that was good. Harbinger was very key in that last game, as you saw. Convocation was very good. Again, I think the 2 of is maybe about right, at least so far in how I've tested it. We never got to see Aclazotz, but it's a fun card. And Virtues, if you can, as I said in the deck tech, go up with those. And that's what I'd say. Thanks for joining me here in the attic. I've been Mana Dad, reminding you Magic is a game so fun, even dads can enjoy it. Now, check out some other cool videos that the YouTube algorithm thinks you might like. Adios.